Match day 2 was full of excitement. We also got three perfect outcomes in the scoreline, but one of those three ended up going a different way and penalty kicks. Also, Nerdy Soccer Table still heating up. There's three matches out there for you to predict. The QR code is on the screen. Join in. It's a great time, and it's easier to pick here in Leagues Cup because you can only pick a winner. There is no draws in these ones. But enough of that. Let's get into match day 3. We have a handful of games. Again, we're just going to do 3 for each day of match day 3. A lot of teams are on the verge of being eliminated, and teams just need to win to get in. So let's jump into those picks. So kicking us off, we have Toluca versus NYCFC. Toluca beat Columbus Crew in match day 1 in penalty kicks, so they got the 2 points. And then in match day 2, they won 2-1 over CF Montreal, where NYCFC lost to Puebla 3-0 in match day 1. But match day 2, they redeemed themselves with a 2-0 victory over Club Leon. This is going to be a good one. It is at Yankee Stadium, so it could be a home match for NYCFC pretty much, but Toluca is considered the home side. With all that being said, I like Toluca more than I like NYCFC. Toluca just seemed the better side, beating a Columbus Crew side coming back because Columbus were up 2-0 on them in that match day 1. Coming back, winning in penalties, and then getting the job done to a lesser team in MLS of CF Montreal. I don't think that they win this one outright, but I think they take it into penalties. It's going to end in a 1-1 draw, but Toluca win in penalty kicks. Next up, we have Houston Dynamo versus Pachuca. Houston Dynamo, both games they have lost in the first 2 match days of Leagues Cup, where Pachuca won against San Diego 3-2 in match day 1, and then they tied with LAFC in match day 2, but ultimately losing there in the penalty kick. So they did get the point. They didn't get the 2 points, but they got the point there. So right now they are sitting at 4 points. So really, it's one of those things, if they win, potentially they're going to be in on this one. Houston Dynamo have no life, losing 4-1 against Tigres in match day 1, and then Mazatlan 2-0 in match day 2. With that being said, even with Houston being at home in this match, I think Pachuca definitely the better side. I think Pachuca wins this. I think they get all 3 points, and they win this match 2-1 over the Houston Dynamo. So next up, we have Mazatlan versus San Diego FC. Mazatlan drew with LAFC there in match day 1, and then beat Houston 2-0 there in match day 2, where San Diego FC have lost both of their matches, so they have no way of getting in to the knockout stages. So could this be an instance where they could get an upset and keep Mazatlan out of the knockout stages? They are currently 3rd there in the Liga MX standings. This one, I went back and forth on because of that. I think that San Diego could upset. Maybe they're not taking Leagues Cup as serious and maybe just focusing on MLS, making the playoffs in MLS and making the playoffs and all of that. So with that being said, I think that they might try to get an upset here just to keep Mazatlan out of the knockout stages. Like, it's always nice to get that to make it where a team doesn't get in. I don't think they win, though. I think that this match ends in a 2-2 draw, but I'm going to say it. I think San Diego wins it in penalty kicks. Now, leading into that second day of match day 3, we have Atlanta United versus Atlas. Both of these teams are not making it in. Neither one of them are making it into the knockout stages, but this could be a little bit of a confidence booster for either one of these sides if they win this match. Atlanta United lost to Necaxa 3-1 in match day 1, then 3-2 against Pumas in match day 2, where Atlas lost against Inter Miami 2-1, and then Orlando City 3-1. So Atlas has not performed well. Neither has Atlanta here in Leagues Cup. Now, Match is back at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Atlanta needs something, and maybe this is my bias coming out, but I think Atlanta's going to get the job done here at home against Atlas. This is a good a good game for them to get back under their feet and maybe try to make some kind of splash or run here at the end of MLS season to potentially make the playoffs. I don't think that they even have a chance to, but I think that Atlanta's going to win this match there at Mercedes-Benz Stadium and win it 2-1 over Atlas. Now, that leads us into Minnesota United versus San Luis. Minnesota United won their first match 4-1, and then in their second match, they lost in penalty kicks. That match ended in a 3-3 draw against CF America, which I believe is one of the better teams in Liga MX, where San Luis lost their first match 4-0 against Portland Timbers and then drew 2-2 against Real Salt Lake, ultimately winning that one in penalty kicks. So they did get a point there. I like what I'm seeing from Minnesota, both in MLS and even in this. They're doing fairly well. They have 4 points. If they win this match, they are in the knockout stages for the most part. I think that there could be an instance if a couple other teams win, they would be out. But I think ultimately, if they win, their chances of getting in are very much solidified. And San Luis, I don't believe they can make it at this point. They do have a point. If they get another 3, that puts them at 4. I think there's too many Liga MX teams with 5 points before match day 3. So, with that being said, it is at Allianz Field there for Minnesota. I like what Minnesota's doing. San Luis, they played against Real Salt Lake. Not the best team. One of the easier ones to beat that's in the Leagues Cup. So I'm going to go with Minnesota United winning this one at home. They're getting those 3 points. They want to move on to the knockout round, and I think they win this match 3-2 over San Luis. Now, for that final match there in day 2 of match day 3, we have Seattle Sounders versus Tijuana. Seattle Sounders still performing so well, like I thought that they would once once the Club World Cup was over. I have talked about them every video. I like what they're doing. They are currently undefeated here in Leagues Cup, winning the first match 7-0, and then winning 2-1 over Santos Laguna, where Tijuana lost their first match against the LA Galaxy 5-2, but then come on the road to the Rapids and win that match 2-1. Really, Seattle could take a break here. I feel like they're sitting on 6 points. They really just need a tie, send it into penalty kicks, and get that extra point to solidify them moving on to next round. And I think that this match definitely ends in a draw. I think that Seattle will sit back, probably see some substitutions, some rotation in the squad. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I would do at this point. You have 6 points. Get that draw, which I think they will. I think this match will end in a 2-2 draw. But I will also say I think Seattle wins it in the penalty kicks. Now, leading into that final day of match day 3, we have Monterey versus Charlotte FC. Monterey lost their first match against FC Cincinnati 3-2, and then drew with the Red Bulls in match day 2, where Charlotte not looking great either, losing their first match against Juarez 4-1, and then getting that draw against Chivas, ultimately losing there in the penalty shootout against Chivas. I don't think either one of these teams can actually make it into the knockout stages. Maybe I should have did predictions on teams that had the chance, but I thought that this was going to be a good matchup. Again, this is another one that Charlotte could use as a stepping stone to maybe get back on the right track before heading back into the weekend for MLS play. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think Monterey are the better side than Charlotte. Yes, Charlotte will be at home there at Bank of America Stadium. Monterey is the home side, though. They're considered the home side. I think Monterey is just a better side. Charlotte have been very inconsistent, other than them being at home. Bank of America Stadium, they're pretty much unbeatable there. I think they've lost, 2 maybe on the season, 3 in MLS Cup. In MLS play, not MLS Cup. Man, all these Leagues Cup, MLS Cup down the road, MLS season. I don't know what's going on here. But I think Monterey win this one. I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be one of those ones they get a goal late, and this match ends in a 2-1 victory for Montreal. Now, for our second match here in match day 3 for this last day, I have Cruz Azul versus Colorado Rapids. Cruz Azul lost their first one to Seattle Sounders 7-0, which was awful. Then they drew with LA Galaxy in match day 2, where Colorado Rapids won their first match, lost their second one to Tijuana. Both teams not looking great. I really expected Cruz Azul to perform well, but maybe it's one of those things they're just not taking Leagues Cup serious. I'm not sure, but I do think Cruz Azul are a better side than Colorado Rapids. Colorado Rapids have been very inconsistent and also just have pretty much sucked this season. I thought that they would be better in MLS than what they are. I know that, again, I'm talking more about MLS sides because that is what I know. So please, again, let me know what your thoughts are for Liga MX, especially if you are a Liga MX fan and you follow the league. Please give me insight on those teams. I love that you guys are commenting and telling me how good they are or how bad they are, giving me some insight on Liga MX. But yeah, with this one, Cruz Azul, I think, are the better side. I think they're going to get the job done against the Rapids, even though they are at Dignity Health Sports Park. I think Cruz Azul wins this one. And they win this match 2-1 over the Rapids. And for our final match here in the video, we have LA Galaxy versus Santos Laguna. LA Galaxy, not looking too bad, winning against Tijuana in match day 1, getting that point there against Cruz Azul in match day 2. Yes, they did lose against Cruz Azul in the penalty kicks, so they are sitting on 4 points. So it's one of those things, if they can win this game, they are possibly in to the knockout stages. Santos Laguna, a different story. They lost both of their matches 2-1 to both Colorado Rapids and Seattle Sounders. With that, I don't think Santos Laguna are... Maybe they'll try to, eliminate the Galaxy from making it to the knockout stages and just playing a good match to do that. I don't know. Maybe they just decide to rotate and just call it quits because there is no chance for them to make the knockout stages. With all that, though, Galaxy looked pretty good against Tijuana. Maybe not so much against Cruz Azul, but Cruz Azul is a really good side, and we know how the Galaxy have been so far this season. I think this one's going to end in a draw. I think that it's going to end in a 2-2 draw, but I will say I think the Galaxy will get the second point, and they win there in penalty kicks. So that is it for my predictions for match day 3 here in Leagues Cup. Tell me down below what your predictions are. Give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you like the content. Also, QR codes on the screen. Make sure you join the Nerdy Soccer Table. There's 3 matches out there for you to predict. Climb the leaderboard. See where you're at the end of the MLS season.